Today I attended a high school practice and attempted to work with some players on their shooting. And the big thing that continues to stand out to me is so many problems in shooting just come back to basic coordination and basic body organization. So this team, the coach believes strongly in the turn, and turning the feet and the shoulders off center of the basket, if you will. So some of the players line up as much as 45-degree angle to the basket, like when they're shooting free throws. And so it's not something, if I'm doing a one-day session, I'm not going to try to change everything that these players do. I'm simply going to try to add something or, see what I see and see if I can give them a couple of cues or something that might help them improve in the future. In a one-day session, I'm not going to be able to change a shot or really make a player that much better. It's what I can give to the player that they can use in their subsequent practice. So, I wasn't going to worry about where they were, but when I looked at these players, some of them, they would have their feet at 45 degrees, but then the rest of their body is essentially square to the basket. And so then they're just not organized well. And so it causes a loss of coordination, and subsequently to that, it becomes a loss of power into the shot or force into the shot because they're leaking some of the power comes out as in a twisting motion as they align their body, as they extend into their shot, or they don't fully extend, and their body organization is poor. I see it in a lot of different ways. There was one girl, 1 foot pointed one way, 1 foot the other way, and a lot of it comes back to me, it's not a lack of exposure to instruction, it's not a lack of coaching, it's not a lack of playing, it's not a lack of practice, because most of these players play high school, they play AAU, they play multiple AAU teams in some cases. They work with a shooting coach privately. They go to, a workout guy on the weekend. They're all over the place, and they're getting a lot of different instruction and different ideas from a lot of different coaches. But everything's basketball centered, and they're not really developing athleticism, and their coordination is poor. And the program has players starting as young as second grade and believes that because they're starting young, they're going to have a head start. And I actually think that's putting them behind, because if you look ahead to what the players look like, 8-10 years later, yeah, some of them have okay skills and their basketball understanding, and they can run plays, and they know where to go, and they know how to move and stuff. But they're simply not coordinated and athletic enough to take advantage of that knowledge and those skills. And so they can be decent, but they have a definite ceiling on how well they can perform their skills, and especially how well they can shoot the ball. And it's not the lack of instruction or lack of practice. It's a lack of basic coordination and lack of basic body organization. They're just not able to use some of the forces, in one movement to maximize their potential. They have different things going in different directions, and it ends up being a poor shot. And they can practice and practice and practice. But until they can really get their body aligned and their body organized, get some rhythm and coordination, they're not really going to see significant improvement, in my estimation. They may improve slightly, maybe through hours of practice. They'll figure it out. They'll figure out how to organize their body. But to me, taking a step backwards and taking a step off the court and really working on some fundamental strength and some fundamental movement skills, and going back and trying to develop that coordination that they seem to be lacking, get their body organized. I think that's the best approach to fixing their shot, and I see that more and more and more, especially as players specialize in basketball at earlier ages, and and don't play other sports, and even especially on the girls' side where they don't do a lot of weightlifting to get some kind of cross training, if you will, but another avenue towards developing athleticism, and the ceiling, they hit their ceiling very early, and I think they could break through their ceiling, and improve their skill level if they had a better base of athleticism and they had a little bit more coordination. So I think coaches tend to look specifically at the basketball problem and focus on the basketball problem of where a toe's pointed, or where where the elbow might be, or what shooting system we're going to follow. But I think the problem starts before that, and until we really get to the foundation, the progress is going to be minimal, and it's going to take a long time. It's going to be frustrating because we're not really getting to the root of the problem. We're focusing on the top, trimming the branches, but we're not taking care of the roots on the bottom of the tree that's really going to help the tree grow and develop and flourish.